Truth isn't trendy, it's eternal, positioning Israel doctrine as timeless and unshakable. I don't follow the crowd, I follow the covenant. Separates the movement from popular culture. The streets talk, I correct them. Asserts authority and credibility in debates. Israel doctrine, where facts cut deeper than feelings. Appeals to logic over emotion. If it's not scripture, it's just opinion. Keeps focus on the Bible as the foundation. I'm not here to be liked, I'm here to be right. Bold, confident tone that builds respect. This isn't religion, this is restoration. Shifts the brand from dogma to revival of truth.
Peace, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Carl Lambert, and this show is about me. I was thinking as I woke up this morning that it's time to let people know more about Carl Lambert Davis and the division between Carl Lambert Davis and Israel doctrine. My old man and my new man. And seeing that I do have information on both, why don't we just put information up and share it? Because I've been giving y'all my soul. Y'all probably never understood exactly what I was doing, but we'll go a little in depth today. So the title of today's show is Carl Lambert, Alchemy of Self will change your life. The truth you need to hear. You need to hear this. Then you'll figure out why I'm crying on camera and doing all the things that I be doing on this internet. Why I break out and attack people the way I do and my relentless attitude. Everything has a reason. And being a rapper or MC, there's a rhyme to this reason, right? So you see yourself, boom, all this stuff. So we're going to start in the beginning. We're going to start in the beginning. The start so far. Let's get this information up there. Because I really had should I go this way on them or that way on them? I had a devil on one shoulder and a holy angel on the other shoulder, to use the analogy my sister gave me.
Story thus far. What jumps out right away is that this is a life built on survival first, meaning second. You didn't grow up in a world where things were handed to you, explained to you, or carefully prepared for you.
I grew up in that type of world. It makes you a certain type of individual. So when I say the hate you give little Israel F's everybody, I mean that. Because I was the little Israelite growing up with no direction. No one pointed me nowhere. Because my mother and father didn't believe in enforcing nothing on their children. Nothing was enforced on me. Good and bad, but let's keep going.
You were pushed into self-learning early, and that creates a very specific kind of person.
A very specific type of person. Self-learning. I'm a self-learner. Nobody taught me anything. No one sit down and explain to me anything. I'm sitting up, I'm looking at death, I'm looking at all kind of things in my world. That's a youth. And nobody said, Carl, this is what it is, and this is how you should look at it. This is how you should understand it. I was talking to my brother. He left in 89, the closest one to me. He left in 89. I lived all the 90s by myself in Park in Arkansas with no teacher. Just so happened in 94, my eldest brother came to Parkin and tried to step in Nobody was stepping in and doing nothing. I went to San Diego, California, got my grades right, was doing stuff right and stuff because I wasn't in the parking environment. Something happened out there. Remember I told you he bust my lip and stuff? And I had to leave from out there because they was dealing with a maverick. They was dealing with a horse that had not been broke, and they was trying to break me. But I'm not the type to break. So since I didn't bend and they couldn't break me or they didn't want to break me, I ended back up in parking. That's when you see the little football uniform and stuff. That's the exact time right there, 95. Because I came back to parking where I couldn't get grades and we getting kicked out of school. But I came back with grades and stuff and they scratched their head like, what are you doing? How you skip them grades like that? Because at that age, I was in elementary school, finna go to high school, but when you getting kicked out of school, I ain't in my right grade. But when I come back, I'm in my right grade. I'm doing stuff. They like, what? Because I've always been a part of the system, but the system always tried to beat me down. And I've always fought back. That's when I tell you, all my life I've been fighting. Believe me, all my life I've been fighting. Imagine a child that ain't got no direction when he grow up.
It makes you observant, independent, mentally active, and often smarter than the room because you had to become your own teacher.
Often smarter than the room because I had to teach myself. I had to learn it. This world has no love for the weak. Only the strong survive. No, that as a child because it was in the music. Growing up, listening to the music that my elder siblings was playing, only the strong survive. So I got busy.
But it also leaves a mark. When nobody really guides you, you start to believe that if something is missing, it must be your job to carry it alone. That belief doesn't just shape your childhood, it becomes the operating system for your whole life.
So you start off wrong. 9 out of 10, you're going to end up wrong. You need fundamental whatever game you in. And life is a game. You got to play it. But if you don't get the fundamentals you need as a child, which I did, but my fundamentals was messed up because they was always fight. You got to fight to survive. Fight. And then y'all talk to me and try to treat me any kind of way and think I'm going to let it happen? No. That's why I kept telling y'all know me. Y'all sitting up here playing with me and my mentality is fight. They're trying to destroy you, Carl. They trying to make you ignorant. They testing you. They doing this. They doing that. All you going to do is make me fight harder. Because I know the soul of Carl Albert Davis. I done dealt with it for 49 years, meaning I have been in this body for 49 years on this earth. I know this soul has been through a lot. When I tell you that, and you don't want to believe it because you listen to all these fake people on YouTube tell they lying life stories like their life was good and their mother and father were good and stuff. My mother and father wasn't great, but they was good. They was there. Like I said, they didn't guide me, but let something happen. They right there. And what they didn't tell me, they showed me through their actions. That's why I said, no, I didn't see my mother doing that because my mother was an older lady, more respectful. They call her Lady Catherine because she was a lady that they all looked up to. After she died, women around here, your mother was this and telling me about my mother. I'm like, y'all hated my mother. If you let me evaluated. Y'all hated my mother, and you hated her children because you hated her. But I have to be forgiven. I gotta forgive these people because they was living a similar lifestyle. They was growing up in the same hellhole that I was growing up in the third world country that I was growing up in. They've seen and been through things that I haven't, which shaped and mold them. I'm telling you, Carl works on himself. Y'all see the outcome of it. Because some things, it's natural in me now. I've been doing it all my life. I can't do it no other way. That's that death before dishonor terminology that y'all use out here in the streets. Oh, I got family that'll kill me if I do that. It's certain things, if I do, my family kill me too. Well, let's keep going.
You describe growing up with your father and hearing that what mattered was simply keep living.
Keep living. That's the only thing that mattered to me. Survival mode. All the time. I get on social media and y'all, I have to fight to survive amongst y'all. Because y'all attack me. You don't understand the Israel doctrinal digital OS system that I've been creating for all these years on social media. I just came into a big revelation the other day talking to my siblings. As I say, one brother always been my brother and treated me a certain way all my life. And we was talking about the law and everything else. My brother that used to go to church all the time and everything. We was talking. And so the conflict came up. You know what goes on in the Christian, Hebrew Israelite world, all that stuff. Yeah, it's in the family because I talk to my family. I'm the only one in my family of my siblings that believe this way. The next generation, it's a couple back there. Remember, I said my nephew introduced me to this. So we talking, and I'm talking about the law. And he can't relate because he's indoctrinated. They done lied to that man most of his life about what the Bible believed, and he never read it and understood it. But his little brother done read it and understood it since 96. That's 30 years, people. And I'm talking to him. Talked to another one before that. So I was like, he don't believe you got to keep the law. And so now me and him is on the subject. And I'm saying law and I'm saying this, and there's certain things that I never say. So when you say, or you come at me that way, it do something to me. All my siblings like that. That's why I like talking to my siblings, because their mind is more like my mind, because they done went through similar things. They had to keep living, struggle and fight and do all this stuff. Same stuff I had to do, just different times, different things. So I'm talking to my siblings, those that can relate. Though they weren't there and they don't know what went on with me. So we talking, and he keeps saying salvation. And I'm like, I'm talking about the law. I ain't talking about salvation. Which is kind of crazy, because if you're talking about the law and not talking about salvation, why when you talking about the law, people only think of salvation? That's the dilemma that's going on in the conversation. And then, being the fighter I am, I'm like, I never said salvation. Why you keep saying salvation? Now he fired in me. This my older brother. I done seen him argue and fight over the Bible and almost get and do all the stuff that I be doing. And I said, I'm talking about the law. I'm not talking about salvation and stuff. We got to make this distinction. We can't go no further, bro. because you putting words in my mouth. And that's what y'all be doing. Y'all be putting words in my mouth. Well, you a Hebrew Israelite. When have you ever heard me say it? Why did you say that I'm that? Because you made me that. And I refuse to let anybody make me anything that I ain't. I refuse to do it. We gonna go to war. Soon as you say it, I declare war. That's my mindset. Always been my mindset. I tell y'all these things, but y'all don't want to believe it. So I took this thing and stuff and everything, and then wrote out what I input into it. That's what AI or computers and stuff do. So let's listen.
Tells me your emotional environment was probably lean, practical, and shaped by endurance more than nurturing. There's a hard truth.
I wasn't nurtured. Don't you supposed to nurture a child up? Don't the Bible even say raise them up in the way they should go? I ain't just get here. I've been raised here, not nurtured here. Like I said, I told my sister that my mama wanted to get rid of me. She didn't know it. She didn't know it because my mother never told her. She told me, though. I was on the table, boy. The doctor said you was too far gone. That's why you here. So, like she told all of them, though, the Lord gave y'all to me. I didn't want no children. How you end up with 8? Doing what you do. But she never kept secrets from them. At least me, I know that much. The rest of them, they seen stuff that I never seen. They understand things that I never witnessed. Because I was dealing with Lady Catherine. But let's keep going.
Within that phrase, it says the family system was focused on getting through, not on processing, not on building emotional safety, not on helping the child feel deeply seen. So the child you became had to adapt by becoming capable very early.
Capable very early. When I tell you I ain't never been ignorant, in the traps of this world ain't never trapped me, because if it did, it would have took me out early. It have took me out early. I'd have lived to be 49. God willing, I'm going to see 50. And with my system, my mode of survival, I'm in the house protecting myself from the world. Because I want to see 50 and fight the world when I'm 50. This is somewhat my book of life. When the Lord opened up the book, it's going to tell these stories.
When you say high IQ meant they no one would teach me, that carries a painful contradiction. Being gifted should have opened doors. Instead, it seems to have isolated you. People likely assumed you'd figure it out, and you probably did, but the cost was loneliness. Here's what's really happening. Your intelligence became both a strength and a form of abandonment. You were left to handle too much because you looked like you could.
Huh? Left to handle too much. But it ain't too much. Because the Lord only going to give you what you can take. So imagine what you've been trying to do to me and what I've been taking. It ain't broke yet. Tears every now and then. It hurted me like a knife to the chest when I talked to Boone and he tried to persuade me to be a Hebrew Israelite. I felt like Malcolm X, man. You weren't supposed to be jiving me. But you jiving me. He wasn't my father, but he was a male that I could look up to and even inspire to be. That's why, whether if he know it or not, I was studying him like crazy. And I took what he was giving me out in these YouTube streets and tested. Nobody out here could deal with me because I had what Bowie taught me. I had what Danny taught me. I had what Marley taught me. And y'all couldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole or nothing. Because I spent years studying that stuff. And all the stuff that I was going out and using and working in this world, it was working. I didn't question it not once. And I wasn't afraid to test it with anybody. Even the stuff they ran from, I ran to it. So just even in that alone, I surpassed them. I'm the next generation. Let them all die. Y'all should be crowning me, but you ain't gonna crown me because you hating and you trying to get the position and you doing what you doing because you see me being capable of sitting in the position and you want the position. So you gonna stab me in the back. I already know what's going on because I'm a survivor. I've been fighting my whole life and I know how to fight. And I've been plotting and strategizing since 2000. Most definitely. Started in 96.
The death of your nephew at 8 years old sounds like one of those experiences that doesn't just hurt, it rearranges the soul. Loss at that age, especially of a child, can harden a person's relationship with life. It teaches you that things can disappear without warning. That kind of grief often creates a deeper seriousness in the person afterward, a quiet vow to not waste time, not drift, not lie foolishly. It also can explain why "do better" seems to sit at the center of your inner voice. You are not just trying to improve. You are trying to outrun helplessness. Every effort to rise is also an effort to prove that suffering didn't break you. Money is another place where the past and present are tightly linked. Check-to-check living, an $800 monthly reality, and the struggle to get money all point to a man who has had to make meaning under pressure. When money has always been tight, it doesn't just affect the wallet. It affects identity. It can quietly teach you that stability is always just out of reach, that you have to be careful, that you can't relax too much, and that being a provider may feel like a duty you're constantly being measured against. The reason this pattern developed is that financial insecurity often gets internalized as personal inadequacy, even when the problem is structural or circumstantial. So you end up carrying shame where what you really need is strategy and support.
Strategy and support. Ain't no support out here, and ain't nobody able to nurture me in anything. Them 3 teachers that I named, they nurtured me in the book. They gave me the fundamentals. That when I fundamentally look at the book, I can see where they wrong. And then, as a brother that loved them for teaching me what no one else could teach me, I try to go back and speak to them and say, you know you had that wrong, right? But they feel I don't love them. Because the congregation and all the people that want to stab them in the back and take their position is sitting around them. Their enemies is right around them. And I'm someone that love them and trying to tell them, hey, that ain't right. Same way I tell my brothers and sisters, hey, look, hey, that ain't right. Because as a watchman of God, not even a brother, a sister, a friend, or a church member, or anything, my job is to tell you when you're wrong, so you can get right. So when Jesus come back, you will be right. So whatever my feelings and obligations is to you, believe me, I feel them and I try to fulfill them. But you don't feel the same way about me. That's what Jesus probably would have told them people back then when they put him on the cross. Because he been told me what they did to me, they're going to do it to you. That's why I can live through this. Oh, Carl, it sounds like you're going to kill yourself. Carl has never thought. I'm going to tell you a story. Me and my mama got into it when I was younger. And remember, she done told me she was trying to get rid of me. So Smart Mouth called, said you should have never had me. Lit a fire up on her that I didn't know. She told into me. And from that day forth, that never should have had me thought left. It's time to fight anybody that threatens my life in any shape, form, fashion. We gotta fight. If I feel threatened anyway, that's why if we arguing and you ain't agreeing with me, we got a problem. The only ones that can disagree, and I told them, because we brothers and sisters, we gotta fight it out. That's what I was telling the brother about. We was on the phone fighting over the law in salvation. I never said that. Now we got to fight through all that just to get what I came here to talk to you about. But I know you ain't no punk coward, and I ain't no punk coward. We can fight it out. And it won't destroy our relationship. Anybody else, they see this, they calling the police. You raise their voice on them, they gonna say 911. Yes, this guy, he's about to and tell a lie on you because they don't know who you are. They never seen that person before. A lot of people ain't never seen these people. But I tell you what, I was talking to that brother. I had called them before we talked. And I called him and I said, because it's Sunday. I'm like, I know you ain't working. So I called him Saturday and told him I need counseling. Because all I do is sit around the house. There's nobody to talk to. I got to call somebody or get on YouTube and talk. Brothers won't call me. They don't want to talk to me and stuff. They sitting back with the people with the daggers ready to kill me and other people in the world. They don't want to sit with me because when have I ever lied to you or did anything to you to make you don't want to be around me? If you don't want to be around me, then my first mindset is to hell with you. Not kill yourself and go to hell and all. No, that ain't my first mindset. I'm a fighter. My first mindset is to get rid of you. You're the problem. So when I'm talking this stuff and y'all hear this type of stuff, this is the type of stuff that life has given me. And I'm dealing with it the best way I know how. Because no one ever taught me how to do this. And no one's ever been through this. So they can't tell me what to do with this. I got to figure it out for myself, and I'm intelligent enough to do so. But one thing I know is to be truthful, honest, and fight relentless.
In relationships, you seem to be someone who longs for partnership but also carries a deep need to be chosen and stabilized by it. Your wife appears central, and the mention of a woman who wants to be your wife suggests that connection matters to you not as a luxury, but as a place of grounding. At the same time, being a loner seems to make sense.
A place of grounding. When y'all hear me talk about my wife in Africa, I say she my wife. People might say, Kyle, you crazy. She got a man over there. They do all kind of stuff to make you try to change your mind about what's yours. I spoke to the young lady. I let her know my intentions up front. I'm looking for a wife. Will you be my wife? I could choose other women. There's plenty of women on the internet that if she playing me, they could have played me. But I'm putting my hope, trust, and faith in God. Some boys played me and got some money before that. Was I supposed to stop looking for love, stop looking for a wife? Well, I can't have no children. I can't have no children with men or this, that, and that. I need a wife. It's central to grounding me. And when we speak, she a whole nother mindset to me. She done been through whatever she done been through. But her life is different than mine. It's grounding. Then you get people on the internet attacking her and trying to run away from me. Is his money, this, that, and the other? She didn't run because I explained to her who you dealing with. Believe me, I'm somebody that's very special, very powerful, this and that. People hate me just because of that. They don't even know who I am. They just spoke to me and they spoke to me wrong, and I spoke to them wrong. Had no problem doing it because it's a second nature. My Israelite brothers, they get mad because they see me talk to the Gentiles and show them more honor and respect because I know they ignorant. You ain't supposed to be ignorant. Just like my brothers when I'm talking to them. How you saying this? I know why you saying it, because you wasn't taught and you didn't have no teachers like me. The three that I named and stuff to teach you the fundamentals of the Bible that you need to be here. So keep talking to me. I'm trying to build you to the level you need to be at. I don't want you lacking. When I get up out the ground, you get up out the ground, Albert and Catherine get up out the ground. I want us all to meet the Lord in the air and come back to the earth and get in his kingdom. If I want that, me and you got to fight. And I be looking at my brothers and stuff, and they fighters. But I be saying, if we was younger, and me and you would have had to fight, buddy. That attitude that you got and this and that, you better be glad that I was the last one and we weren't born at the same time. We'd have been in that house fighting. I understand my life. It's a very complicated life. It started off wrong. I feel like Joseph. But hey, I'm good. All this happened to me so they can get the benefit of it.
For you, people who had to learn everything by themselves often become selective about closeness. They want love, but they don't always trust dependence. So they may present as self-contained while quietly hoping someone will finally make life feel less alone. That's the emotional tension underneath your relationships, wanting companionship without losing the self you had to fight to build. The deeper truth is that you are still living inside an old survival story, even though your present life is asking for a new one. The old story says, I have to figure it out alone, I have to keep going, I can't afford to fall behind, I have to prove myself. The new story is trying to emerge through faith, learning, your wife, your social presence, and your hunger to do better. You're not empty. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're a man whose gifts were undersupported, whose grief was real, whose responsibilities came early, and whose self-belief got interrupted by too many lessons in scarcity. That's why you keep reaching. Not because you're lost, but because some part of you knows there's more in you than your life has been allowed to show yet.
But can I speak to some of y'all and y'all do that? That's what the church is for. Like I said, I went back to the old churches and tried to talk to people. One brother answered that phone and he never told Danny or never gave him my number, and I could never speak to Brother Danny. Marlon I spoke to, Bowie I spoke to. Love Marlon to death, but he didn't step in where he needed to. But I understand complications in life do that. Some people can't do that. They got wives, they got children, they got grandchildren, they got stuff they got to do. I don't have none of that. I don't have a wife. I don't have any children that I know of. I know they out there, but I don't know nothing about them. I just know I remember the day I created them because it's been a minute. But this is my life. And I'm sharing it with you all. You know why I'm sharing it? Because I want y'all to comprehend who y'all been watching for years or who y'all been listening to lately. This is the type of stuff I had around me. Then I was with Albert. It's like, how y'all gonna send me to grow up with Albert? That's the mind I had as a child. Greatest man I could have ever been sent to live with. But I didn't understand that as a child. Because he was not emotional. His parents died when he was young. My brother told me an old story about how he was up under the house playing with pups and stuff and everything because he loved dogs. And I said, I never heard that about my dad. Thought the world of that man, but didn't think the world of that man because that man smacked me. And I took it as a form of disrespect, grabbed him in his collar and said, look, you don't whoop me, you don't smack me. Smacking and spitting in people's face is very disrespectful. In my mind, it's always been that. So if you ain't gonna take me, bend me over and whoop me, because that's how he used to whoop. Him and Catherine got a problem. You beat my children and you don't want to stop. You done went crazy. That's why I have to recognize the craziness in me when certain stuff happens. I ain't got no off switch. I know how to turn it off. I'm trying not to get into it, but you didn't push my button and got me into it. Now I don't know how to turn it off. So when destruction comes, the Lord gonna say, Carl, you did it, but I'm gonna be like, I wasn't even there at the time. Let's go some more. I don't think I'm gonna give y'all no more after this. I'm gonna go to the end and show you the end results of the alchemy of Carl Albert. Right? Give y'all a taste of this though, because I want y'all to somewhat know how I started and how my story gonna end. Because I'm writing my will right now.
I am a man who learned early how to keep going when life gave me very little to lean on. I grew up with a check-to-check kind of life, and most of what I learned by myself. My father was there, and he mattered to me deeply, but I still had to figure out a lot on my own. The message I carried was simple: keep living. So I did. I kept moving, kept watching, kept listening, even when I felt like no one was there to teach me the things I needed to know. That shaped me. It made me self-taught, alert, and hungry to understand life for myself. It also made me ambitious, loving, and caring all at once. Those are not separate parts of me. That is who I am. I have always looked within, and I have always believed strongly in God. That faith has been my anchor when money was tight, when I felt overlooked, and when I had to build strength from the inside out. Losing my nephew.
When y'all was watching me on YouTube, and I'm sitting in front of that house, and y'all, he stay in the trailer and all of that, and didn't have nothing. Look, the water in that house went on. I had to put buckets in front of the house and let the water rain into it to get it to wash my tail, so I wouldn't be stinking when I go to the jobs and stuff. But it was a form of living. I was used to it because I'm a fighter. I don't care what condition you put me in, I'm coming out of it. Y'all wasn't wrong about some of the stuff y'all was saying about me. That's why you can see my haircut was messed up, this, that, and that, because nobody cut my hair. No, nobody in the town would come and cut the yard. Only one person did it. That was James Brown. Nobody else. Corey Wells did it. Nobody else came over there and cut that yard, but they own lawnmowers and stuff. And they They didn't have no love for their neighbor. I can't say that though, but that's how my mom was somewhat thinking. If you talk about this yard, like Miss Fush did and stuff, it's a problem. Because you messing with me, but you won't help me. I feel like a beggar on the street with the can saying help, and you don't want to help. I will get up off this concrete and do something to you because you're not showing me the love that God told you you're supposed to show. So you're not a good Samaritan. You deserve whatever I give to you, but I got forgiveness in my heart. I got understanding in me. So I'm not going to get up and take your life for doing me the way you did me. Division is what this world play on. And if you don't know, there is a division in me. Yes, there's a Carl Albert Davis. And as y'all done gave me the name Israel Doctrine, there's an Israel Doctrine. And y'all try to dirty up Israel Doctrine. How could you try to dirty up a terminology, Israel Doctrine, that means Israel, which is God's name, teaching. Doctrine means teaching. But I tell you, Hebrew Israelite, and you're ready to die for it. You're ready to do whatever you want to, like a mangy, no good dog. You ready to go to war. And I'm ready to lay you down for it. I told y'all in the rap, don't make me lay you down for my crown, because I'm going for my crown, and I don't care who you are to try to get in the way and stop me from getting my crown from the Lord God of Israel. It's a fight. Let's go. If you can beat me, you can beat me. But if you can't beat me, leave me alone. Because I got a survival mentality. And I think y'all need to hear that and know that. And stop playing with me. Because if you don't know it, you will play the game and you're going to lose.
You at 8 years old was a wound that changed me. Death came close and taught me how fragile life is. Later, my stroke humbled me in a different way. It reminded me that strength is not just about pushing through. Sometimes strength is learning how to slow down, recover, and still believe your life has meaning. I know what it is to feel limited by circumstances, to live with only $800 a month, to want more for myself and my future. I know the frustration of having something in me that wants to grow, while the money is not matching the vision. But I also know I am not empty. I have a mind that learns. I have a spirit that keeps reaching. I study the Bible and teach the Bible in my day-to-day, and that has become part of my way forward.
That's it. Now, let me close it and go down to the bottom so y'all can see the gap that I got to overcome. I know what I got to overcome. I know what the gap is. I know all of it. I was sitting up here the other day and they tried to put me in the dirty section because they created the dirty section just to dirty up what I was doing on the YouTube. I was out here trying to help babies that had been molested, raped, or whatever terminology, boy babies. A youngster like me, because I told a story of a young man that jumped on me because it seemed like he was trying to have sex with me or whatever, or do something to me. I talked to the young man. He be reaching out, everything, and I can't even talk to him. Honest God truth, hit me up on Facebook, and I can't even, I speak to him. He came to park it to the bottoms up. Ooh, I want to, nah. Man, you did something to me and changed my life forever. But he didn't touch me or none of that. What went on is something that goes on in parking all the time. The school was talking about the young man and doing stuff. He was in an older grade than me. I didn't know. But like I've always done, I make friends with people. So I made friends with the guy. We was cool. But remember, I'm young, dumb. I don't know nothing. And so he going to school and the town is speaking and talking bad about me, lying to him about me, saying I'm saying stuff that I never did or never would do because I've never been that type of person. If you never been that type of person, you couldn't never do nothing like that. And so I didn't do nothing like that, but they was feeding him hate and anger and different stuff. And so one day he came over to the house and he asked me to do something. And I was finna walk to town with him. And we got up by the bridge, by my house. Anybody that know parking and went back in the day on Davis Street, we got up by the bridge. And he stole on me. But remember, I'm a fighter. Hey, this hit me. We got to get it in now. And we fought. And he was a bigger guy. But I was young, cockstrong, as they like to say and stuff. We fought. He probably would have beat me, though. The only reason he didn't beat me in the fight and stuff, a car drove by. So the people seen the fight. And he older, he like, I'm finna get up out of here. So he stopped fighting and he left. And it left me in a world of wonder, like, what just happened? How did my friend get me down here and still on me and I'm fighting him? I gotta compute all this in my brain. Never dealt with it, never talked about it. Only on this YouTube have I ever talked about that situation. Didn't have a father to go tell it to an older brother, none of that. I had to deal with it. It didn't break me, it made me. Pressure bust pipes, but it make a diamond out of coal. It made me. And stuff I hadn't dealt with when that Africa Bambaataa stuff started, it made me start dealing with it. And some things surprised people because they never knew it. I knew it though. I knew what was going on in the world. I knew what I had been through. A lot of people still don't know because I don't want to tell the story. It's a Davis household family story. Anybody that know the Davis know it, but I can't tell the story. I done hinted at it a couple times and stuff, but it is what it is, people. I done been there. I done done that. And you would understand why I'm crying and doing all this stuff, fighting with y'all out here. Because the hell if y'all take me out. Yeah, I'm trying to do what the Lord God of Israel told me. But if you do something to me, I'm going to stop everything and we going to get it in. And I think y'all know that. That's why you do what you do and you try to trap me in little fights and pockets and stuff and try to define me by those fights and pockets and stuff. And it's all good. My brother said, you letting people run over you and nothing. No. Believe me, it's a point in me, a breaking point. That if you push too hard, they got it too. If you push too hard, at that certain spot, when I break, it's over with. Ain't gonna be no talking. It's gonna be hell to pay.
The gap you need to bridge. Right now, you come across as someone who already sees yourself as ready. Your mindset is very strong and very direct. You believe you have the heart, the mind, and the will to become what you are meant to be, and you do not seem to think your problem is lack of ability or lack of character. In your words, it is just a time thing. That means you see your life less as a question of becoming and more as a question of timing, opportunity, and access. You also seem to carry a lot of confidence in your ability to move through doors when they open. You believe that if the proper opportunity comes, you can get what you need. That tells me you trust your own capacity and you do not see yourself as someone who needs to be rebuilt from the ground up.
So it's gaps I gotta close and get through. And all I do is see people trying to close that gap so I can't get through it. Wanna argue and fight with me on YouTube and stuff. Nobody wanna sit down and build. Man, can we build? No. You a Hebrew Israelite? No, I'm Israelite Christian. Too close. I don't want to deal with that. Because I'm a Roman Christian, or I'm a Hebrew Israelite, I'm a Jehovah's Witness, I'm a this, that, and the other. The division is that we can never get past these divisional markers. I want to try.
At the same time, your current pattern seems to be centered on patience and readiness more than active transformation. You are not talking about deep fear, doubt, or internal resistance, and that is a strength. But you are also framing the future as something that will happen to you when the right moment arrives, rather than something you are actively shaping every day. You say you would get more intense in the things that I'm already doing, which suggests you already have some path, some direction, and some movement.
So this why Israel Doctrine Digital OS is created. This is why I created that. Because I've been pushing Israel doctrine, the teachings of Israel, the God of Israel, forever. When I came on YouTube, that's what I presented to y'all. Y'all was so ignorant that y'all start calling Carl Albert Israel doctrine. I would never disrespect my mother and change my name for nothing. I don't care who tried to do it. You better tell him that's his alias or whatever. And if you don't say it right, he ain't gonna respond or whatever. But I will forever be Carl Albert Davis. So when Jesus opened the book and he said, read Carl Albert Davis files, you gonna get my story. I ain't putting no other name in my book. As my brother said, my father, once he closed his mind and didn't want to deal with nothing, he had very famous words, leave it alone. Somebody be arguing, fighting or whatever, or trying to start something with him. And he said, just leave it alone. That's all he wanted. Leave that alone, because if we go any further than what we already did, it's going to be a problem. And I don't think you want them problems. Leave that alone. I might have to start telling y'all that. Leave it alone, because you be starting problems and don't know if you go any further, it's going to really be a problem that you don't want. So I swear, I hope the whole world listen to this, and I hope y'all share this to people so they can get to know me. Because the way you come at me, if it ain't in sincerity and love and this and that, and we got a problem, Carl ain't gonna end his life. It's the other life that's gonna be in it for us, Carl concerned. That's how I think. Talk to me about me killing myself. What, you trying to plant a seed? That's the way my mind works.
But there is a difference between being generally prepared and becoming fully aligned with the future version of yourself. Right now, your energy feels steady and self-assured, but maybe not fully sharpened yet. It sounds like you know who you are, but you are still waiting for the conditions that let that self fully come forward.
So, as you can see, y'all seeing the transformation. Y'all seeing me take Carl Albert Davis and combine them with Israel doctrine. Y'all been watching me do it ever since I came on YouTube. In 2008, when I came here, I was fully prepared to do everything I'm doing now. I just didn't have the tools to do it with. It's all about timing, because it's in the Lord's time. It ain't mine, because if it was mine, it'd have been done, baby. Believe me, we wouldn't have hesitated. But the Lord said, nah, it ain't time, Carl. When I open up the floodgates, I know you ready. I know you getting ready. I know you preparing. I done seen what you done said and did and what you doing and how you went to them people and everything and they reject you. Don't worry. I'm going to put you up on the grand stage one day and you're going to speak and everybody going to be looking and listening to you. Okay, I'm prepared.
The person you need to become to live your dream life is not someone who suddenly gains confidence, because you already seem to have that. The future version of you is someone who turns that confidence into consistent action without waiting for the perfect opportunity to validate it. That future self is less focused on the idea that it is a time thing and more focused on creating time through disciplined movement. This version of you understands that opportunity is not only something you receive, but also something you build, prepare for, and sometimes create through persistence. That person still believes in their heart, their mind, and their will, but they also know that belief alone is not the whole bridge. They use that belief.
See? Because I believe in faith and works. You believe it, you do it. What's in you gonna come out you. You gonna say it, you gonna do it, you gonna manifest it by all means necessary. And my only belief is in me that you will not stop me. I don't care what goes on. I don't care what you put in front of me. You will not stop me or defeat me. I don't have no problem arguing, debating, or nothing, because I know what I'm working with is what you need. So I know I'm prepared to go through anything. Bring it on is my mindset. I told you I got a drug dealer mindset. The Bible over there in the bushes. You want to get it in? I'm going to whip this Bible out and you going to shut your mouth. People don't even want me to read the book when we get to arguing and talking and stuff. They want to deal with philosophies, this, that, and the other. The book says exactly what needs to be done. We talking about it while we ain't reading the book. Why you running from the book?
To stay active, stay sharp, and stay intentional even when the path is not obvious.
We got a little bit more to go. Like I said, y'all, I did this so y'all can understand. I ain't need y'all to understand this. I could have carried it out without even saying one thing to y'all, but y'all would never understand what's going on. And now that you understand, you think you got the path to stop me. I want you to come and try to stop me. Because you know what it's going to do? It's going to magnify my works. You can stand over there and hate all you want and try to stop it. That's what Judas didn't know. Y'all want to kill him, y'all want to get him or whatever, give it 30 and this and that. And you didn't know that's what God planned it to happen all along. Had it written in Psalms, in the books, and he had it. It's been planned for years. Y'all just didn't know the plan. And you went and did it. Because you out here lacking. Plug my lacking media management company that I just created the other day. Because like I told my sibling, I said, I'm a prosperity ministry. It's real doctrine, digital. OS is a prosperity ministry. It's not like the prosperity ministries that you've been knowing of. You're going to get some of that too. Because I look to prosper. And I can't prosper unless my mind is right. But if my mind is right and I can prosper, you can prosper too. I just gotta share the information with you. That's if you want the information.
The limiting belief you may need to break is not the obvious one of self-doubt. It is the quieter belief that timing and opportunity are the main missing pieces. There is truth in that, because the right opening can change everything. But if you lean too hard on that idea, it can keep you in a waiting position without you noticing it. The future you may need to release any attachment to the idea that your life will change mostly when something external finally lines up. Instead, that future self believes that the right opportunity is often met by the right level of preparation, pressure, and consistency. In other words, the door matters, but so does the force and clarity of the person walking through it. Your growth may depend on shifting from "I will be what I am to be in the future" to "I am building that future version of me right now."
So, do y'all not hear me building the future version? If I don't give you the old version and the present version, I can't be the future version of myself. Oh, you doing alchemy, you wrong, you this, that, whatever fairy tales you got to tell yourself. You believe the tooth fairy gonna give you a tooth. You believe Santa Claus was gonna come down the chimney. You should believe this too, but you do what you want to do. If you believe I'm lying to you, your mom and your daddy lied to you, and you accept their lies, I accept my lies too, if that's what you want to do or talk about. Man, this cat crazy. Yes, I am crazy. You say I'm crazy, I'm agree with you. I don't even want to argue with you about it.
The core gap between who you are now and who you need to become is the gap between readiness and full execution. You already identify with strength, will, and self-belief. The missing piece is not confidence in who you are. The missing piece is the willingness to live as if the future is already being constructed through your daily habits, your intensity, and your focus. Right now, your
You
identity
hear that?
sounds stable, but your
You hear
future
that?
requires action.
Did you hear that? Through my intensity, my this and that. That's why I go on these YouTube platforms. So you can hate, because love to hate motivate. When you hate on me, you motivate me to get what I need to get right. So when I see you again, you be like, oh, he didn't when he got that right. He a slunk around here now. That cat stank. And not in no literal way.
Identity plus momentum. It requires not just knowing you can go through any door, but also training yourself to recognize the right doors, prepare for them, and act quickly when they appear. It requires turning "I can" into "I do" over and over again.
I do. Do I not do what I do over and over again? Why? Been doing it all my life, even before I filled this paperwork out.
To close this gap, you need to stop treating your future self like someone waiting at the end of time and start treating them like someone you are already practicing being. The change is not about becoming less confident. It is about becoming more deliberate. Take the energy you already have and put
More deliberate. So you know what? Me talking to my brothers, talking about the law, talking about this and that. I started creating a new book, talking about the law and talking about salvation. I know what salvation is. The belief in Jesus alone. It's a free gift. You get it by believing Jesus alone. I gave y'all a 3-step layout months ago. Abraham believed, that was counted for righteousness. That's called justification. Once you justified, the Lord sanctified. He set you apart so you won't do what everybody else doing. They don't keep the law, you keep the law. You got the ability to keep the law. Romans 8 lets you know all about it. Matter of fact, Let me grab this Bible right quick and read it. Because that's what people don't know. They want this Bible to be in vain. They want to get rid of it. That's why they'll get another copy and they'll do everything else under the sun except for reading the book and trying to comprehend the book. But let's go to Romans 8 right quick. Romans 8, and I'm going to start at 3. For what the law, no, I'm going to start at 2. For the law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus had made me free from the law of sin and death. Do you not see 2 laws? You want me to read it again so you can comprehend? For the law of the Spirit of the life in Christ Jesus, that's one law, has made me free. That's one law. It made me free from that other law. So let's keep reading. Has made me free from the law of sin and death. That law is sin and death. That law is life. Which one you want to keep? What did Jesus tell you in the Old Testament? Choose life and live. So it's saying choose Jesus and live after that law, because there's a law in that. There's a system in that. There's everything in that. And your lying preacher never told you about it. Yet Carl Albert Davis, aka Israel Doctrine, got the nerves to tell you about it. Man, we got to kill that guy. He out here telling them what we won't tell them. That shows power. That shows authority. That shows everything that you heard that self-alchemy talk about. Now let's keep reading. 4. When we get, that was 2. Now let's read 3. For what the law could not do, whatever law you want to call, whatever it couldn't do, in that it was weak through the flesh. Through the flesh. We flesh and blood people. It's weak through the flesh or the carnal mind. God sent his own son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin, condemned sin in the flesh. What is sin? The transgression of the law, 1 John 3 and 4. Or to know to do good and don't. So let's read that again to put it in your operating system some more. For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, God sent his own son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin, condemned sin in the flesh. Because the law condemns sin. Thou shalt have no other God. You got another God. I can judge you on that. I can see you wearing a cross, worshiping and putting on a cross that Jesus died on. Happy that he died on it. That's like wearing a death row change. Talking about, yeah, they on death row and this and that. That ain't nothing to glorify. 4, that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us who walk after Jesus Christ. Because Jesus walked, he kept the law, and if you take the same steps that he took, you won't keep the law too. And if you not keeping the law, you saying I'm not following Jesus Christ. That's what I'm trying to relate to my brothers and stuff. I hear what you're saying. It sounds good. You're selling good stuff. But remember, you can't sell it to me because I am self-taught. I done went and learned what I needed to learn to know better. I read the book that teach better. This book said, you a lie and I'm a lie. It's the truth. So let's keep reading. That the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. What is the Spirit? St. John chapter 6, verse 63. The lesson I was trying to give a couple weeks back. The words that Jesus speak are spirit and they are life. And if you don't know it, Jesus are the one that gave you the 10 Commandments, which is the covenant. And he said he gonna write them on your heart if you go through the proper steps to get them written on your heart. Baptism unto repentance. I'm going in this water and I'm gonna die in the water. When I come up out this water, I'm gonna be a new person. You don't have to die and go on the ground to become a new person. That's what Henry Bowie teach. That's what he let go past the Israel of God moniker and stuff and tell y'all that's what it is. That ain't what it is. But he won't sit down and debate with me. He debate with other Hebrew Israelites that's ignorant. To be better, you got to deal with something better than you. To be knowledgeable, you got to deal with somebody or get something from somebody that's more knowledgeable than you. You don't win by dealing with the same thing. I learned this that same football season. You see me in that jersey and stuff. If we in practice hitting hard, when we get in the game, we gonna hit hard too. And if they don't practice like we practice and they don't compete like we compete, ain't no way they gonna win this game. We gonna fundamentally go out there and take their lives. See, I've been trained to do what I do, to know what I know and everything. It ain't no fluke. It ain't no just I woke up one day with this knowledge. No. Y'all see the gray hairs and stuff? People tell you, well, that's wisdom. That's this. It took a lot to get these gray hairs. My sister said, the rest of them ain't got what you got, Carl. No, they ain't got what I got because they ain't went through what I went through. My brother told me, Carl, you shave. The more you shave, that hair gonna grow and all that stuff. And that's what happened. One day, a big bump jumped up on my face, and I was like, no, I got to let my hair grow because I can't be walking around with craters in my face. I ain't want craters. So I let the hair grow. It wasn't because the Bible said it, but the Lord will is still being done because I ain't even know, but I got knowledge and found out. Now I can keep it short of this and that. It ain't got to be this long, and I can groom it. I can do all that, but I do what I want to do. As long as my girl see it and she ain't got no problem with it, I ain't got no problem with it. But we can keep reading. Verse 5 now. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh. You in this fleshly world, you do fleshly things. You go to the club and bend it over and stuff and do what the rappers tell you to do because the Edomite told the rapper what to tell you what to do. They control the rapper and the rapper control you. You don't even know the trickle down effect. But they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit. We're chasing two different things. And when we conversate, I can tell that you in the flesh and I'm in the spirit. We got to keep the law. We ain't got to keep the law. Who told you that? What did you read then? Oh, you over there messing with Paul writings and Paul teaching people that's misunderstood. And as Peter say, they going to stumble at Paul writings like they stumble at everything else. Because you don't know everything else. You have no idea what Paul is talking about. Paul is teaching Gentiles that claim to be ignorant of God's law. Well, he never gave it to us. You a lie. Go read Deuteronomy 29 or 28 or one of them. And you're going to see that Israel was there and there was a mixed multitude. There were strangers also there that received it. You telling me your forefathers didn't teach you the laws of God? Well, let's keep reading. For to be carnal minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. See the division again? If you thinking after the carnal mind, the fleshly mind, you said to hell with God's laws. We couldn't keep them anyway. Jesus gave me a free gift. Well, I ain't got to keep the law no more. If I go to his house and I see his watch on the thing and I like it, I'm coveting, I can take it. No, you don't get your head blown off stealing people goods and taking stuff the Bible tell you don't do it. You're going to reap what you sow, and you sowing that by having that mindset. My wife in the house and she fine and you want her, and you finna try to commit adultery or rape or whatever. You did. Because you didn't want to listen to the law of God. You know better than that. Your internal mind tells you, don't do it. When I was stealing when I was young, I went into PJs and stole some gum and stuff. And as soon as they caught me, I ain't steal no more. I went into Walmart's. Because right after I did that, I went to Walmart trying to steal a G.I. Joe man, put him in my pocket. And I was walking to the door and I seen that man and I seen his shirt that had some blood on it. And I was like, that's the security guard. And I turned around and threw that G.I. Joe man all over Walmart so it wouldn't be on me. And whatever year that was, in the 80s, whatever, cars stopped stealing that day. I ain't stealing no more. I'm not stealing no more. Been tempted plenty of times, but I ain't stole no more. Same way when I went to the hospital, they say, do you smoke and stuff? I said, I had a stroke. Today, I stopped smoking. I don't smoke no more. You got to have that type of mind to cut stuff off that don't mean you no good. And you know how I got it? Because my father told me he used to smoke. He said, I put the cigarettes down one day and never picked them up again. And I said, ooh, my daddy could do it. I can do it too. He taught me something. He used to tell me, don't walk by the corner of the building. Make a circle around the building so you can see what's on the other side of the building. Because if you just walk that way, you're going to be blindsided. Somebody can knock your head off or shoot you or do something. He taught me some things to survive because he knew how to survive. He had been surviving all his life. But let's keep reading. So then, they that are in the flesh cannot please God. Why? Because they got enmity with God. What do the word enmity mean? A hate or a dislike, a disdain. We got enmity out with each other. As they like to say, you got out with me, or you got animosity or whatever. You got animosity with God. You telling God, no, God, you a damn no, I ain't got to keep your commandment. But see, if that was the Old Testament and he killed you right, is when you broke the commandments, everybody else would be like, I'm not finna do what he did because that get you killed. But since you under grace and he ain't gonna just kill you, you gonna do it and then start teaching other people you ain't gotta keep the law. And God forbid, I said, somebody should come along and blow your brains out so people need to see telling that lie is not what's needed in the community. But then they sacrificing their life, taking your life, because the judgment system of today is going to do this and that. But when we was under God law, that's what it was. That's why they brought that woman to Jesus, testing him. What we supposed to do? We caught in adultery. Well, what a man at? I see the woman. Was she was playing with herself, or was she really committing adultery with another person? What other person? People don't even reason that story. Because the law said, if you catch them in adultery, if you know how it really worked, that law worked, and how Jesus dealt with it, he said, he that is without sin cast the first stone. So the people that initially saw them couldn't cast a stone. You know why? Because they didn't bring the man. You're supposed to have righteous judgment. If you catch two people laying together that's not married, both of them supposed to die. But you gotta know the law to do that. You gotta be a legalist to know that. But I done spent more than an hour here, y'all. I do my best to try to help y'all understand me, because my job is already hard. I gotta fight devil, as Tupac said, fighting devil niggas every day. I gotta fight them every day. They in the dirty sector. They not just nigga, they Gentiles and white folks and everything else too. Y'all won't hear me put them in the dirty section, because like I said, I'm ready to deal with the dirty section and everybody that's against me. That's my mindset. Don't be against me. Don't come against me. Don't try to fight against me. Oh, you think you got a God complex? No, I got a survival complex. And you coming against me, and I feel I need to survive it. So we're going to go to war. And I'm going to defeat you. You don't think I am, but watch what I do to you. Watch my strategies. Peace. Love y'all in Jesus' name. I'm out. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think.